looking at the opening sequence of Heian Godan, and then this slow movement coming around to here. Okay, so if I can borrow Paul, please. Okay, as mentioned several times, it doesn't mean the attack's coming from the side, it means I'm going to the side of him. So if we do it 45 degrees, so hopefully you'll have a better view of it. So if he grabs, okay, a lot of the katas open up with releases, escapes, okay? So it may seem a little bit repetitive, but it gives you a variety of choices. So we've got a choice here. There's a threat, that has a threat. So similar to Heian Sandan, I can move to the side. But this one, I just come straight in with a punch. Straight into, sorry Paul, straight into kidneys, okay? Or maybe to the top of the head to the head if I want to. Okay, again. So 45. 45, that's it, okay. So I can use that one as a distraction, as we discussed before. Round, punch, stun him. And then the other one is this slow hook punch movement. With that one, I'm just going to come up and I'm going to use that as a trap, okay? And again, when a kata does a movement slowly, very often it's a warning to take care with your training partner. As discussed before, 2 bones going down your forearm. Up until now, we've kind of focused on the little finger side when we're striking, okay, with a hammer fist. Now we're going to focus on the bone on the thumb side. And again, your hook punch gives you that position. So from there, I can just squeeze in. Paul will just tap when he's had enough. Okay, now if you turn around facing the camera, please, Paul. Now then, a couple of things with this particular lock here. If I turn it that way, I'm squeezing with muscle. Okay, if I turn that way, I'm squeezing with muscle. But that way, the position that the kata shows us, with the palm downwards, I'm driving my bone into his windpipe, which is very, very uncomfortable. Now, in the kata, the other hand's on the hip. Okay, it might be that I've got that hand there and I'm restraining that one, or if it's not doing anything, I can use it here. It doesn't have to be on the hip just because a kata says that. I can use it there. Now, let's say, for example, he manages to get his head down before I manage to get around the neck, so I get around the face instead. Now, again, this was in grappling they call a face bar. And again, if I just pull in, Paul will tap on his head enough. Okay, and again, it doesn't take very much pressure anywhere on the head or face. Okay, it becomes very uncomfortable very quickly. If he turns his head around the side, I get around the side of the head. Okay, wherever you go in, if you're pressing that bone in, and that's the key part, you're pressing the bone in, okay? And it's your chest to his chest, so he can't go anywhere, okay? There's no good trying to do it around the side there or around there, okay? You've got to be pulling him back into you, so it's like hammer and anvil, if you like. There's a hammer, here's the anvil, so he's got nowhere to go. But just about anywhere across the head or across the face, even if I take it to the bony part of it, take it to his skull, the bony part, okay? Not very much pressure and it hurts. So again, he grabs. Okay, let's do it around this way, please. Okay, so he grabs. Okay, I can use a distraction if I want to, distraction. Come around the side, punch, and then come in here. If I'm lucky, I'll get the neck, like I say. Otherwise, anywhere at all, and just squeeze him against my chest. Okay? In the kata, it's in that position. So the hand is in front of the chest, okay, the arm is in front of the chest, okay? It's not like a reverse punch, not like the first one, okay? There, the forearm is definitely away from the chest. This second one that comes around, it's very much in front of the chest. So you've got to be thinking about trapping something between your chest and between that bone and squeezing, okay? Wherever you squeeze is going to hurt. Okay, now we're going to look at this one. Yeah. So if I can borrow Paul again, please. Nice. Now then, if you step back in, please. Sorry, we'll do it this side so you can see better. Okay, so if so Paul comes in with a head punch. There, we can use it as a block there. Now then, I just said earlier on about X blocks. If I do an X blocks against a Meigeri, it ties up 2 hands. Well, he's got hands free. That ties up 2 hands, and he's obviously got a hand free. So if you do use this block, you've got to be very, very quick to take his balance. Okay? The technique, you block it, twist round, grab, and pull back to the hip to take him off balance. Now, from that off balance position, he can't use that hand. This hand is trapped, and because his balance is gone, he can't really use his feet either. Okay, so this one is I would say it's a more valid technique than the blocking the kick, but you can't hang about, because if I pause there, I can be hit with the other hand. Okay, so as soon as you do that, you've got to take it straight away to take its balance. Okay, so we'll show you that one again. If you step back, please. Okay, that's what you're looking at. So he's got no chance to do anything else. Then, of course, in the kata, you've got the hammer fist strike and the stepping punch. So I've got the hammer fist. As I step in, I can punch, or I can just take my knee into his knee to buckle his knee, collapse his position, whatever. Okay, so there's ways you can use that. Okay, we talked about in Heian Godan about using the horse stance as a way of taking somebody's balance and taking them down. Heian Godan gives us another couple of options for doing that. Okay, so if we look at the next movement after we've done the punch, we come round into this Gidan into a horse stance. So we come to Gidan the horse stance, and then we've got this movement coming around here. With this one, again, I can step in, the knee comes in, and I've got one where I'm like smashing down with a Gidan, or this one where I can just take it across and take it across his chest and push back that way. Now, if you do it around this way, please. Okay. Slight difference here is this one we make an emphasis of pulling back with the other hand. So this is more likely to say I've trapped a hand, whatever's happened before then, I've trapped a hand, then as I come in, I'm stretching out. Okay, so again I've got the knee in there, same as with the last technique. I've got the hand going across there, taking its balance. But this time I've got a potential arm lock here as well, taking it across my chest. So just tap me if you've had enough. Okay, so again, this one is, if I didn't have this arm, I might just smash down like I did last time. But as I have got this one, okay, like I said, as well as taking him off, I've got an arm lock. Now, I think I said earlier on, it's said that some of the techniques in the kata are done slowly because it's telling you to be careful with your training partner. Okay, this would be one where you've got to be careful with your training partner. So I've got that knee taking his knee, I've got my knee taking his knee there, so I've got it taking his structure at the top, and at the same time I've got that arm lock across my chest. Okay, so there's a potential to break that arm, particularly if it's done fast. Okay, there's a potential arm break on that elbow joint. So again, the kata's telling you, be careful with your training partner. Yeah? Next part of the kata, we come around Makazuki, crescent kick, and this elbow strike. Okay, again, that one's not too complicated. If you grab the wrist, okay, again, similar to what we was doing before, I can use that to break there. Okay, then my crescent kick, I think I would tend to bring it in low. He's turned around, so I would tend to go for the knee joint there, and then smack around there. Now here, don't worry too much about where you grab them. Just whenever you get a hand in your face, it's very disorientating. It gives you that flinch reaction. So if you do turn the person around and you manage to get a hand in the face, that's always an advantage, especially if you're going to hit the back of the head at the same time, because back of the head, or the skull, is much thinner at the back than it is at the front. So turning them around and being able to hit them at the back of the skull is always an advantage. Okay, it might just be, that's what we say, is grab the wrist again. Okay, I might just maybe manage to get there. I may not be able to grab his head. Okay, but again, I can still use it, maybe the heel coming into his thigh. Okay, you've got a pressure point on the outside of the thigh, so a good kick there. Okay, and again, I'm a little bit too far to come in for an elbow strike, so I can just come in, bang, against his elbow. Okay, I'm pulling this one back, pulling this one here. So as I pull that one out, I straighten his arm, I twist, so I lock his elbow joint out, and then bang. And again, we've got levels of violence. I can use it as an arm lock, or if I really do it really forcefully, bang, now you've got a joint break. Okay, we'll do it on the other side, so maybe see it a little bit clearer. So he grabs again, Okay, so I can use it coming around there to disengage. I can strike. So I'll say try to keep your strikes low, either like thigh, or if he's turned around here, I can take the back of the knee, or I could, if I wanted to, come around into the kidney. A little bit too far for a headshot. So again, just twisting there and pulling, which is always what we do in Hikate, we twist and pull. Okay, so I use that twist and pull and bang, just go into the elbow. So like I said, I can use it as a break if I do it really forcefully, or I can lower the level of violence and just use it as an arm lock to take him down. Okay, looking at the next sequence in the kata after the elbow strike, we've got this here, up there, and then the jump round and landing in the X block again. Now, two main applications come to mind for this one. If I can borrow Paul again, please. Okay, now think of it in terms of strikes. We tend to sink as we do this one, and then push up as we do the next one. So if I'm thinking of sinking and I strike to the chest, that should get a reaction from Paul where he kind of like doubles up. So I hit there, I get a predicted response where he hunches and doubles over a little bit, and then I drive up and through. Okay, now we talked earlier on about moving the body weight behind the technique, okay, and we often talk about moving the body weight. This is a technique where we move the body weight upwards. Okay, I'm striking upwards, so I move my body weight upwards. So in the kata, it teaches us we come from here, we come around and we're low, and then we come up straight. So again, we need to think in terms of that. Bang, down low. So that sinking feeling, so we're striking into his chest, that gets that reaction from Paul, so as he kind of comes forward. Okay, now I'm striking upwards, so I move my body weight upwards. Okay, if I'm using that application, I think I'll actually still be looking that way. In the kata, we look that way. Okay, so that's one application for it. That is my particular favourite. If you look at some of the judo jiu-jitsu throws, one of their throws is they're grabbing. Okay, they come into this position, ready for a throw. Okay, now that is almost the same here. So if you think of it in terms of that Marotayuki, when I come in there, if Paul steps away, please. It's practically my Marotayuki, okay? And of course, we're coming into this crossover stance, which is preparing us to turn and throw. So I'll show you that again, please. So from there, so we say a bit more of a grappling situation, if Paul grabs me as well. Okay, so hopefully you maybe do something to stun him a little bit, and then coming in, bang. Okay, so you're ready in that throwing position. The kata also gives us that upward punch. So I've got one throw here where he can come over, or I've got another throw where I'll take the shoulder and do a shoulder throw instead. I'm not going to do it on this hard floor, but again, that's just another couple of ideas for you. Okay, so next we're going on to the end sequence. Marotayuki we talked about before, blocking and punching at the same time, and then we've got these movements. Now, there's a lot of different applications for these. Generally, freestyle. Generally, sorry, just back near the wall a bit, please, Paul. Thank you. Back a bit. Thank you. So Paul comes in with a Jodan punch. Most common kind of argument for this one is blocking there and striking to the groin. And Paul is turning his groin away because he knows what's coming next. Okay? So if you try and keep it like a kind of punch, please. Thank you. So yeah, people talk in terms of blocking there and strike down to the groin, which, yes, nothing wrong with that one. Okay? And then, of course, grabbing and pulling at the same time as you're pushing with the top hand, pulling with the bottom hand. Okay? Do it around this way, please. Okay, so you can see it better. So one more time. He comes in, bang, that's the position. And then I'm just going to grab his gi rather than his whatsits. Okay, so I'm pulling there, and at the same time I pull there, and putting that one down there. Okay, again, I'm not going to drop him because it's a hard floor, but if Paul steps out the way, okay, that's the movement I've done so far. In the kata it's there. Okay, Manji-uki. Now then, if I can borrow Paul again. Normally, if you're blocking the punch, you would normally be doing it with the palm outwards. Okay, but this one is with the palm inwards. towards you, which you wouldn't normally block somebody that way across your head. If you're using the back of the hand, you'd normally use it that way. You don't normally use it that way. So it makes me tend to think, like if you're in a grappling position, okay, I tend to think of this one here as you're pulling in. I'm pulling him in. That would be a more logical, for that position, that'd be more logical if I'm pulling him in. Okay, and it takes his balance, it gives him, it takes his balance, it takes his structure, his head is against my chest, which is kind of like a little bit uncomfortable for him, and then the other hand, bang, I'm going to be striking at the same time. Now, I would tend to think, sorry to kind of be a little bit crude here, if that's the kind of, imagine that's a person's testicles, if you're striking that way, it's going to hurt. If you use your forearm, squash them, okay, you squash this person's testicles against their own pubic bone, it's going to hurt a lot more, okay? So rather than think in terms of a strike that way, think more in terms of crushing them, okay? So we're in this kind of grappling position, okay? I come in there, take his balance, pull him in towards me, make him think about his head. While he's thinking about his head, bang, I'm going to try and, like I say, use that forearm strike. If you turn around the other way, okay, so I say we're in this grappling position, we'll just move back a little bit. That's it. So I pull in there to kind of like take his balance, and also just putting him in there, I may be kind of flapping his facial features, maybe his nose or something, so it gives him something a bit more to think about. And while he's thinking about that, I've got that strike there coming in, yeah? And again, I can grab, pull, and from here I can maybe grab his gi, pull back on the gi instead. If the person's got long hair, I can grab the hair, I can grab the ear, okay? Again, please. Okay, so again in this grappling position, okay? Pull him in, because he's not expecting that strike. With this hand, you just grab whatever you can, whether it's clothing, whether it's his face, any part of the face, hair, okay? And then you've got that Manjiuki feeling where you're pulling and pushing at the same time, okay? I'm using his gi here, but you imagine if you grab something a little bit more, I wouldn't have to pull, he'd be jumping in the air. Okay? It can also be used, let's say if he's grabbed me, okay, a bit more facing me, okay, taking off from some of the other techniques that we've looked at earlier on, okay? So I come around there behind him. Now if I use a technique, bang, I've got that grab round there, okay, this one comes underneath, and I so I'm having a girly moment here. Okay, so again he grabs. Okay, I come round to the side. This one grabs round here. The other one comes underneath, and I'm just going to grab his gi for obvious reasons. But imagine you could be grabbing anything you liked, and then you've got this pulling and pushing feeling from the Manjiuki. Okay, so you can do it from the back of the person, or you can do it from the front of the person. If you're doing it from the front, you're looking at squashing the testicles. If you're doing it from the back, you're looking at kind of coming through and raking back. Okay, so this will be a slightly different movement coming back. So from the front, just squash them against their own hip bone. From the back, through and pull back and squash them that way at the same time as you're pulling against the neck.